here we will talk about geography in early China in grade 7 social studies, international department. China's geography. Geography played a major role in the development of Chinese civilization. One of the physical barriers that separates China from its neighbors is a harsh desert which is called the Gobi Desert. Here we have to know that one of the physical barriers that separates China or keeping China away from its neighbors or from the other countries is a very big harsh desert which is called the Gobi Desert. This is the Gobi Desert. It's very harsh. It's very dry that no one can live there, of course. Let's talk much more about China's climate. In the northeast, the climate is cold and dry. Winter temperatures drop well below 0 degrees. Rivers are frozen for more than half of the year. So in the northeast, we have three main things. The temperature there in the winter below 0 degrees. Rivers are frozen for more than half of the year. And the climate there is very cold and very dry. This is in the northeast. Let's talk about northwest, the other side. In the northwest, the deserts are very dry. Here in the northwest, the deserts are very, very dry, very harsh. The southeast is the wettest region. Southeast is the wettest one, is the wettest land, because as you see here in this picture, China is almost in the southeast of China is close to a sea or to an ocean. So here in the southeast is the wettest land, the wettest region. Let's move to China's rivers. Two great rivers in China. The Huang or Yellow River that stretches across northern China. The Changjiang or Yangtze River cuts through central China as it flows from mountains of Tibet to the Pacific Ocean. The Changjiang River is the longest river in Asia. Here we have two main rivers in the whole China. Huang River or Yellow River, which is located in the north part of China. Huang River or Yellow River in the north. And here the Changjiang River or Yangtze River is cutting through or between the mountains of Tibet in the west to Pacific Ocean in the east, and Changjiang River or Yangtze River is the longest river in the whole China. Here is the Huang or Yellow River, which is located in the north part of China, and here is the Changjiang River, the longest river in the whole China, or Yangtze River. Let's move to the development of farming. Farming in China started along the Huang and Changjiang rivers. The rivers' floods deposited fertile silt. These silt deposits made the land ideal for growing crops. What's the meaning of silt? Silt means rich soil, which is very useful in farming and agriculture. Because we have two main rivers in the whole China, Huang River and Changjiang River, the longest one, so we have lots of farming lands in the whole China. The lands that full of rich soil, which is silt, and they are very useful for growing crops and growing plants, and they are very useful too for farming and agriculture. So it will affect the Chinese culture. Let's see. Because of the farming lands in China from the main rivers there, population grew, so villages spread out over larger areas in both northern and southern China. In this part, we have to know that because we have lots of fertile land in the whole China because of the two main rivers we talked about before, so the population grew. The population increased in China, and villages increased too in the whole China, in north part of China and south part of China. The early Chinese filled their tombs with objects like containers of food, because they thought of afterlife like ancient Egyptians, jewelry, especially in rich people's tombs, other objects like jade or hard gemstone. So here, the Chinese people filled their tombs with three objects. The first object is containers of food because they thought that there is life after death like ancient Egyptians. Containers of food, jewelry, especially with the rich people's tombs, and also jade stone or gemstone. Hard gemstone is very precious. Jade stone, very expensive, very precious. Chinese priests. Of course, we know priests. Who are they? Priests are the religious people who were making religious ceremonies. Priests had carved questions about the future on bones or shells, which were then heated, causing them to crack. Priests believed that they could read these cracks to predict the future. The bones were called oracle bones because an oracle is a prediction. In this part, we have to understand that the priests who were carving questions, they were drawing or carving questions about the future. They were writing things or the questions about what will happen in the future on the bones or shells. So when you will heat the bone or you will heat the shell, what will happen to the shell or the bone? There will be cracks that will appear in the bone. So priests believed that they could read these cracks to know about the future, to predict about the future, to know things that will happen in the future. These bones were called oracle bones. Oracle bones, because an oracle is a prediction. At that time, or in this part, oracle means prediction of the future. So they were carving questions about the future on bones or shells, and they were heating these bones or shells so the cracks will appear, and they believed that they could read these cracks on the bones or shells to know what will happen or to predict of what will happen in the future. These bones are called oracle bones. Oracle here means prediction. Prediction means knowing things in the future, knowing what will happen in the future. We finished this lesson. If you have any questions, I'm available on WhatsApp. Thank you for listening. Bye.